Hello, hello. Janet Parks here, and I am so excited to be hanging out with you guys this afternoon and hopefully to deliver you an awesome training that you can just take into your social media and immediately begin to implement from here. So I'm excited to hang out with you guys. The goal of the training here is to help you learn how to stop the scroll to attract your ideal clients with your content. So I'm going to be providing you with 4 solid tips on exactly what to do to come out of this training confident and ready to start posting for the person that you're wanting to attract. If you don't know who I am, once again, my name is Janet Parks. I'm the CEO and founder of Solutions for Sellers. We help online sellers just like you simplify the way that they post online so that they can stand out and grow their business. And one of the things that I've been super passionate about over the last few years is content curation and doing it in a way that resonates with your audience. Because if you don't know who you're wanting to attract, if you don't know how to land your messaging with the right people, it's going to be very difficult to attract the people that you want to attract and close clients, right? If you want people to buy your courses or want people to buy your network marketing products, right? Regardless of what business you're in, you need to be able to speak a certain language to people. And that language is going to be very specific to the person that you're wanting to attract. Okay. So I'm going to be teaching you all those things here. So I hope you guys are excited. Comment below. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm over here in Sunnyside, Florida. And it's finally cooled down this week, which I'm so excited about. We've been rocking like 95-degree weather for a while. With the humidity, it's not a good look. My hair is not bing. We're not doing the poofy thing today. And if you if you don't know me, I'm a goofy person by nature. So I might, and I'm also Puerto Rican, so I talk with my hands, and sometimes I might get a little loud here and there. So hope that's going to be okay with y'all today. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. Let me tell you a little bit about myself before I start kind of going into these tips. Just a little history. I started direct sales late 2018. Prior to that, I was working for corporate America for 10 plus years in sales and leadership. More specifically, I left corporate America so that I can be home to raise my daughter. She was 2 at the time, which is crazy. She's 7 this year now. And I actually started a free Facebook group in early 2019 because I saw there was a need. There was a need in the market, and I could not find the problem or the solutions that I was looking for as a new direct seller. Online, I could not find the trainings. I could not find solutions. I had to go in YouTube and Google and do all the things. And so when I was trying to figure things out in my business, I realized that there just wasn't enough resources. So I became a resource. I started sharing things that were working for me. I took people on a journey, right? And over time, we were able to retire my husband in 2021. We now work full time and raise both our kids from home. And I do that, right? I run that Solutions for Sellers brand, as well as I'm a leader in network marketing as well. So I balance both, which sometimes can be a struggle, right? Holla at my folks that are doing a couple things versus just one one business, but it's so fulfilling and it's so fun. And one of the things that I can tell you, as it pertains to this this training here, is that I became a professional problem solver. So if you get anything out of this training here when it comes to your content, just get really good at solving problems, okay? And get really good at solving problems for that one person that you want to attract. Because when you get into that professional problem solving mode, you can help so many people. And end of the day, that really just becomes the mission is how many people can I really help with my messaging by just being authentic, by just showing up as myself. I'm not a professional speaker. I don't have that experience. I actually have a little bit of a speech impediment, which I'm sure you're going to hear it here throughout the training. I always tell my people that too, just so that they can feel better, right? Like if you struggle with like content and live video and stuff, like you don't have to be all that and more. Like you really can be your authentic self as long as you're providing value and you're problem solving. Okay, that's really the goal here. So let's go ahead and get into this. If you guys are excited. By the way, comment below. Let me know what company you market for. If you're network marketing, what company are you with? Just curious. Are you a small business owner? Do you have your own coaching business? tell me a little bit about what you do in the comment section, just so I can see like who's hanging out. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and deliver these 4 tips for you. I'm going to try to do this in a very simple, comprehensive way so it's easy to understand. Okay. Now, if you want to be able to attract your ideal person to you, okay, your ideal client, number one thing, it should be pretty obvious, but the number one thing that you need to understand is you need to know who it is that you're talking to. Okay. And that messaging needs to show up in your content on a consistent basis. Okay. So if you're trying to attract, for example, maybe the busy mom with littles that's trying to get rid of her postpartum belly, right? The struggle's real, y'all. Okay, I'm with y'all. If y'all are on that same boat, I'm there. Um, just saying. But if that's the person that you want to attract, right? What type of content do you need to be posting in order to attract, right? Who is that person? Like specifically, is it the busy mom that, maybe it's the busy mom that doesn't have time to cook meals, but she's looking for a solution, right? To be able to cook for her family of 5. Is it, for some of you that are in a coaching business, maybe it's somebody who's struggling with imposter syndrome. Maybe it's somebody who has confidence issues, right? Regardless of who it is, you need to understand who that person really is so that you can curate your content for that person. Okay. So typically the easy way to kind of figure that out, all right, or at least for me, this is kind of a journey that I had to go through. I don't know if you guys struggle with like identifying your ideal avatar. It's like that's the really fancy way of saying like targeting the person that you want to attract to your business, right? For me, it was, and for most of you, it's going to be this as well. And this helped me simplify this. For me, it was, who was I before I found my solution? Right? Who was the person that I was before I joined my company? Who was the person that I was before I figured out this strategy, right? For those of you in your coaching businesses, right? Who are you? Who is the person that you were before you made this transformation? Revisit that person and really think about those pain points. What were the things that kept you up at night? What were the struggles that you had? What were those things that that you just struggled with, right? Because that's the languaging. That's the languaging. Is that a word? Maybe it is. I don't know. That's the language that you want to use in your content. Okay. But you have to know who that person is. So typically it's the person that you were before you made your transformation. So for me, I had to kind of visit that. For me, it was the person who had confidence issues, the person who was not a really great speaker, the person who compared myself to other people, right? And so I use that languaging. Those are just general examples, but I use that language in my posts because I want the person that I want to attract to be able to read my post and say, oh, she gets it. Like she gets me. She understands me. Therefore, it's going to attract me to her content because she understands what I am going through now, right? You are talking to that person. So I just gave you kind of a general example, right? If you were a fitness instructor, like who were you before you found fitness? What were you struggling with? What were those pain points, right? Maybe you were struggling with depression. Maybe you're struggling with not feeling good about yourself and major fatigue, right? And if that's who you were, then you want to use that in your content. The people that you're trying to attract are women that want to feel better, are women that want to feel more confident, are women that want to get out of their own heads, right? And so how can you use that if you know who you're going to attract and that languaging? How can you use that in your content? Okay? But anyway, number 1, that is, you have to know who it is that you want to attract. And if you don't know who that is, take the time to sit down and just write it out, right? For me, like I like to be able to use a pen and paper and write things down, because then if I'm brain dumping, I like to call that brain dumping, then I can see it all on paper and then piece it together. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. But number 1, you have to know who it is that you want to attract before you can even show up online, really. Okay. All right. Well, let me backtrack on that. Please continue to show up online. All right. Trial and erroring is part of entrepreneurship. Okay. So if you don't have that completely dialed in yet, that's okay. Figure out what's resonating with your audience, with your content. Don't just not show up. Okay. Number two, you want to prime and prep your social media for attraction. Prime and prep your social media for attraction. What does that mean? That means if I were looking for you, right, and I wanted you to help me solve my problem, whatever problem that is, If I go onto your page, right, am I going to be attracted to your profile photo, or is it a photo of your cat? Let's get real. Okay. I've seen some people with photos of their cats, and I will be on a call with them and they're like, I don't understand why people aren't attracted to my stuff. Well, it's you. I don't even know what you look like on your profile photo. How am I supposed to be attracted to you if I don't know what you look like, right? So if it's your cat, you need to put Fluffy aside and put a photo of yourself, okay? So your profile photo. Think about your banner. Does your banner resonate with your brand? Does it inspire people? Does it make people want to hang out on your page, right? Is it going to attract people to you? Okay. The other thing that you want to look at when it comes to your social media, priming and prepping it to attraction, are your posts. Are your posts going to resonate with the people that you want to attract, right? Are your posts fully reflective of who you are as a brand and as a person? Okay. If they're not, then delete, delete, delete. One of my key rules here, and this is something that I teach too, is not to each their own on this, but not to just be so aggressive with political posts and all these other things that can cause controversial stuff. Even though those posts do help boost engagement, you also want to think about your brand at the end of the day, right? Is this going to repel my ideal client? Like, you want the right people attracted to your content. And if you're going to post things that are off brand, right, that have nothing really to do with you, then you just have to understand there's going to be repercussions of that. Is it really worth posting? So I want you to take a look at your social media and just ask yourself, is this going to attract or repel my ideal person? Okay. Okay. So that's the second thing. Here's the third major tip for you. Okay. And this is one that a lot of you might be struggling with. Okay. And typically this is a struggle point if you don't necessarily have your story dialed in. Okay. Number 3 is get really good at story selling. Okay. Notice how I said story selling instead of storytelling. Okay. This is story selling essentially is allowing yourself to share the things that you've been through, right? That resonate with your audience. Okay. Story selling is if you can get really good at dialing in your story and really sharing it, you're going to attract the right people that resonate with you and your story. Okay. Stories stand the test of time. Stories are what make you memorable. Stories are not like a graphic that you just post and slap on a page. Okay. Everybody could be selling the same type of product, but you're different because your story resonates with the right people. This is how you stand out from the rest. Nobody has a duplicate story. Graphics and captions can be copy pasted, but your story cannot, right? That is what's going to set you apart. So when we talk about story selling, understand that it's very important for you to be able to sell your story to people. Okay. Now, this can be a struggle point for some of you. And I know it was for me at one point when you have so many stories that you can share, right? Like, what's the right story that you can share with people that are going to resonate? When you have so many, and I have so many different aspects to my life, I can share my story this way. There's that one. There's so many different avenues you can take. I want you to kind of sit back and think about, okay, think about the person that you want to attract. Okay. Think about, again, what their struggle points are. We talked about being able to do that, right? Who were you before you made your transformation? Typically that's the person you want to attract, right? What story can I share that's going to kind of highlight some of those pain points and struggles? What story can I share that's going to highlight those things that are going to attract the right person to me? That's the story that you want to hone in on. That's the story that you want to discuss, that you want to share. Okay. And here's the good thing. When you're doing your story selling, okay, you are going to be doing this often, especially if you want to attract the right people. So once per week, I fully recommend at least once a week, if not twice a week. Share your story. Get sick of hearing your own story because you're always going to find new people. New people are going to read it. New people are going to see it. New people are going to look at your message and say, oh my gosh, like that person gets it. And that's the point of story selling. Being able to sell your story allows you to be able to relate to people. And it allows the other person who's reading your story and reading the struggles that you went through and how you overcame it, that person's going to be able to say, she gets it. She understands me. I need to follow her posts. I need to pay attention to what she's talking about. That's how you start attracting the right people, right? And so you want to make sure that you highlight that. The difference between story selling and storytelling, right? Features tell, benefits sell, right? You guys have heard that before. Story selling is you're selling your journey, right? You're selling the things that you have been through and how you overcame it, right? So that your message resonates with the right people. Storytelling, right? That's another thing. That's just kind of highlighting your story, right? And just telling people, hey, this is how successful I am now. It's so great. This is how much money I make. Nobody can really relate to that because they don't understand the actual story behind it, the things that you've actually gone through, right? And those struggles so that people can relate to you. People need to be able to relate to you if you want people to be able to really be fully bought into you. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. And comment below, let me know, are you guys getting value from this training? Hashtag value in the comments if you are. Okay. When you're telling your story, guys, you need to make sure that you're sharing those things that you've overcome, but also you sell the outcome, right? Where are you now because of that journey that you took? How do you sell the outcome? By showcasing it, right? Showcase the outcome. I'm so grateful that I did X, Y, and Z because this is the reason why my life is X, Y, and Z, right? Sell the outcome, the potential, all right, that people can have when they go through that journey. Okay. Okay. So get really, really good at storytelling. I have some notes to kind of keep me on track. Okay. So number 4, all right, in your post, I'm going to give you a winning attraction structure. All right. A winning attraction structure. This means when you're constructing your posts on social media, or even when you're, this is more specifically your post, but when you're constructing your posts on social media, there's a 3-part structure that I like to stick to. Okay. The 3-part structure that I like to stick to. And it's broken up in a way to where it's supposed to help people stop the scroll, okay, go into your actual post, and then hopefully perform an action at the end, okay? So here's the 3-part structure. Number 1, the first thing that your post needs in order for it to be able to stop the scroll is to have a hook, okay? You guys have probably heard that before, a hook. This is a statement. It could be in caps. It can have question marks. It can have emojis attached to it. This is a solid statement or a question that you're putting at the very top of your post that is supposed to help people stop the scroll. Okay. So having a hook that's enticing, that helps people want to learn more is so important because, again, it's going to make people want to pay attention to your content. And that's what you want. You want the right people paying attention to content. The second part of this attraction structure is your story selling. This is where you incorporate your story. Okay. If you want to see examples of this, by the way, if the story selling part is like maybe you're stuck on it, take a look at my Instagram. It's Janet E. Parks. You'll see in almost every single reel, okay, that I've posted, it's all stories, right? In my posts also, there are some that are stories because I want to be able to relate to my person. So when you have your hook, go into that story selling mode. Tell the story, okay? And that's the piece that's going to keep people drawn into your content. It's going to keep people wanting to continue to read it. And then the third part of your structure is your call to action or your inspirational comment, okay? Now, I do this a little bit differently. I know a lot of people say you have to end it with a call to action, and I agree with that. I agreed with that. But I think there's also power in your posts when you don't always end with a call to action, okay? I think that there's power in your posts when you're also ending with an inspirational comment, okay? And it could be just an inspirational line, like a lesson, right? Almost like you're giving people that last piece of advice or that lesson after you've done the hook and the story selling. Here's the bottom line. Here's the moral of the story. Here's my message to you. Here's how you can take this into your life. Because I have found when I've made posts like that, I've had more people reach out to me because I'm not asking. I'm not asking for the comment. I'm not asking for, reach out to me if you want more information. I think that strategy, slightly outdated, doing it that way. There are probably smarter ways that you can do call to actions, but I like leaving it with like a message to have people thinking, right? And that's what you want your content to do. You want your content to attract. You want your content to resonate with people, and you want to be able to inspire people at the end of the day. Because when people are inspired and they have that emotion, if your content gives them that emotion of inspiration, oh my gosh, she understands me. I feel like I can do it too because she did it, right? That's when people are going to want to really pay attention to what you're posting and maybe even start reaching out, right? This is how by the way, the majority of the time, how I get my coaching clients, how I get customers is I share my personal journey, right? I'm authentic with it. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. I share that and I do that in a story selling way. But that is the winning attraction structure: hook, story selling, call to action, or an inspirational statement. Okay. Making sense? Drop a thumbs up if this is making sense for you guys. Okay. Okay. So I think I said I was going to give you 4 tips, and I have this last one here that's really, really important. Okay. This last tip, when it comes to really just getting your content to a point where it is attracting people, is you want to always evaluate and see what your audience is resonating with. Okay. When you start to see comments like, I feel like this post was for me, I feel like you were talking directly to me, I feel so understood, like those type of comments, that's when you know you're landing with your audience. Okay. And that's a really great way to kind of evaluate how your content is doing, right? So, every day I always typically ask myself, did I show up for my person, or did I show up for some other reason? It's always good to ask yourself that question. Like, when I'm posting online, when I am posting my stories, when I'm posting in my reel, when I'm making my posts on social, am I showing up for them or myself? And people can see the difference. If you're just posting content just to hype up your engagement and get comments, right? People can tell, they can tell the difference between that. Okay. Versus making posts to attract someone, right? Making posts for someone else. Your content needs to be rotated. It's not about you in the end of the day. It needs to be about them. So for those of you that are afraid to show up, for those of you that have some fears and reservations about sharing your story, what happens if you don't? Ask yourself that question. What happens if you don't show up for another person today? What happens if you don't share your story? Nothing, because nothing changes when nothing changes, right? And that's a problem. That's a problem if there's somebody out there that's looking for your messaging and they're looking for your help, and you have the solutions, but you're hiding behind insecurities and the illusion of, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, there's other people that have been doing this longer, right? There's always going to be somebody who's been doing it longer, like reality check, but there's always going to be somebody who's 2 decades, right? I'm what did I start? 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 5 years, right? I knew that. I don't know why I counted, but 5 years being in the industry, right? There's tons of people that have been doing it way longer than I have, but I've gained a lot of success. I'm still attracting people, right? I'm still signing people on. Why is that? Because I'm showing up anyway, right? Confidence issues, I get it. If you're struggling with that, I totally understand that, because there's always going to be somebody who's 5 steps ahead of you. That's just the reality. But it doesn't matter, right? Like, that part really doesn't matter. What really matters is you being in that professional problem solving mode, sharing your messaging, tuning in on your story, making sure that you're sharing that. The right people are going to find you, and the right people are going to think that you're amazing, regardless of who to whaty, who's already done that, right? There was somebody that I met not too long ago that was saying, well, I don't know how I can create this content. It's already been done. It's already been created. I'm not going to provide anything unique. Of course you are, because nobody is like you, right? Nobody else is like you. You are the only version of yourself, which is pretty cool, right? It's like the fingerprint thing. There's like what is the fingerprint thing? There's no 2 fingerprints that are exactly the same or something. Like, you're your unique print. You are. And that's what makes you so attractive. There's so many different aspects and elements to us as people. We're all so different. And that's what's going to help you attract your right person, is you showing up and being yourself, 100% yourself. Because I promise the right people will find you and the wrong people will scoot. They're going to scoot. All right, right? Like, even with you guys are watching this. The right people are going to resonate with this. The wrong people are going to say, she's a little too crazy, Kim. Like, who invited this person? Like, she's too cuckoo. She's sharing her hands too much. I'm not into it. Like, I don't like her messaging. And that's okay because you're not supposed to attract everyone. You're supposed to attract the right people. Okay. Guys, I hope that that was helpful. Hashtag value in the comments if it was. If you're interested in just kind of just checking out my community, it's called Solutions for Sellers. We do trainings every Sunday. But I'm so appreciative of just having the opportunity to hang out here with you guys. And hopefully this gave you something to think about and something that you can take into your social media and start implementing today. All right. See y'all next time.